Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun, the show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
On today's episode, we are in its orbit. This is Planetes. Welcome, everybody. I am your space oddity, Moxie the Yeen, here with the ground control to my Major Tom, Isekai Sensei-Sama Brad. Brad, how you doing?
Watch out. Off the port bow. You got incoming.
On your 6. You're north?
Which way is up?
North, George Lucas, north!
If only you had some kind of lucky charm that you could use to
Compass.
find your way up.
North in space. We're covering Planetes is the only way I can think of to say it. It's planets, but there's 2 E's in it. It's full of E's. Planet's full of E.
If it's not pronounced Planetes, then it's wrong.
I don't know. Who knows?
Planets.
I know. Planets, raisinets. I don't know why my brain's putting these together. We are continuing our sci-fi arc. This was recommended by Thors over in the Shonen Flop Discord, so thank you, Thors, for this.
Do you think he knew what he was doing when he recommended this?
I think it's just the sci-fi they like. I don't know. Brad has written the notes for this, so I have to read them all, and I have to figure out how to read them because he pretty much copy-pasted Wikipedia here,
you
it
don't
seems.
Need to include all of this.
I'm not going to. When I saw it, I knew I wasn't going to.
But I got you all the information.
Yeah. Planetes was written by Makoto Yukimura. Is it a woman? No, Makoto. Makoto woman?
Not necessarily.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a not necessarily or not. It originally ran from January 14th, 1999 to January 8th, 2004. This feels really fitting that this ran over Y2K for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel that deep in my bones. Oh, in 4 volumes and 26 chapters, not 4 volumes capturing 26 chapters.
26 chapters total.
Oh!
In 4 volumes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or 1 omnibus, this says, from Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Weird.
And has an anime that is 26 episodes.
1 for each chapter,
Yep.
I guess. Well, I could see, I mean, from the first chapter. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I see pre-summary notes.
It's not stuff to read into the mic, but
That's
things
why I'm
you
reading
should
it to know if I should know.
So you don't ask me while you're reading it.
Cool, I'm going to do it anyways. It's too late. It's time for my patented Moxie's Mock Speed manga summary. In space, there is no up or down. Back during the early days of space travel, the cosmonauts would carry a compass as a reference point. They believed it would bring good luck. It's June of 2068. Yuri and his wife are aboard an aerospace shuttle in low Earth orbit. He questions her about the compass around her neck, and she explains that it's for luck. But he's not allowed to see the inscription inside the lid. Even a married couple can have some secrets from each other, right? Yuri floats up from his seat. He's going to get a coffee from the cafe in the back of the shuttle. He assures his wife he isn't going far. She looks after him as the door closes. As she sits back in her seat, the window next to her shatters under the force of an impact. Silence as debris streams from the shuttle. 6 years later, once again in low Earth orbit, a salvage team is finishing their current job. They notice some more debris, but Hachimaki reports that neither of the two out there have the capacity for it. So instead, they decide they need to push it to a lower orbit so it will re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and burn up. This team's job is to help clean up the space around the Earth because there's just too much stuff up there. It's dangerous because of how fast things need to move to remain at that altitude. Hachimaki intercepts the identified debris, finding it to be only an empty reservoir. He kicks it towards the Earth and they watch as it starts to burn up against the atmosphere, after which they make their way back to their main ship. Back on the ship, it's time for a meal. Hachimaki complains about the astronaut food, saying that he craves some real tonkatsu, the kind that's actually on a plate and not floating around in a bag. His coordinator tells him that he's too impulsive. She hasn't had a smoke for 3 weeks, and the other salvager hasn't been back to Earth for over 2 months. Isn't that right, Yuri? Yes, it's Yuri. Hachimaki has known him for 2 years now, but he doesn't know much about him. He spends almost all his free time staring at the porthole into empty space. But there is no time to contemplate this strange coworker. There is an alert about a depressurization in compartment 5. Hachimaki and Yuri suit up to go deal with the problem and find a large hole in the hull. They suspect a piece of debris, about egg size, was the culprit. It had punched directly through the armor plating. Even though they're safe, it's a reminder of how dangerous it can be up there. As they do their best to mitigate the damage until a repair ship can arrive, Hachimaki muses about how he's going to buy his own ship and it will have an artificial gravity system. Yuri says that Hakamachi has told them that before plenty of times. But why is Yuri doing this job? No special reason, he says in a way that tells you that he does, in fact, have a special reason. We flash back and see an injured Yuri standing in front of a table covered in broken items. Someone tells them that these are all the personal items that were able to be found. Yuri asks if they found a compass. The person doesn't know what he's talking about. Back on the salvage ship, Hachimaki sees Yuri staring at a picture. Is that a woman? What a lucky guy! But Yuri leaves without saying anything. Hachimaki wonders if he said something wrong. Just then, the repair ship shows up. So Hachimaki suits up to go out and help with the repairs. The old man in charge of the repair ship is someone they know well. Hachimaki casually asks about Yuri's picture, and the man tells him it's his wife. He goes on to tell Hachimaki about the shuttle incident 6 years ago, and how Yuri's wife's body was never recovered. The repairs done, they part ways. Sometime later, Yuri is trying to tie a salvaged piece of debris to his vehicle. The cord he has is just a bit too short. The crew talks about a way to deal with this, but ultimately decides just to leave the debris for now, as the coordinator has picked up a debris field that they're on a collision course with. Hachimaki and Yuri begin to make their way back to the main ship when a glint off in the darkness catches Yuri's eye. Hachimaki starts to talk about how he learned about Yuri's wife. He didn't mean to pry. He starts to ask if Yuri is doing this job in the hope that... But the coordinator interrupts him. Yuri's course is off. He's heading directly to the danger zone. She's calling out, but Yuri isn't responding. We see Yuri's face with a bright expression, but the debris field is almost there. Yuri is reaching out for something, but there's no time. With seemingly no care for the incoming danger, we see Yuri's hand outstretched to grab a compass. But before he can grasp it, a piece of debris slams through his vehicle, slamming it hard into Yuri. Hachimaki pushes his own vehicle to full throttle to rocket towards a now unconscious Yuri in an attempt to save him. They are dangerously close to the atmosphere. If something isn't done, Yuri will burn up in the atmosphere, falling. Hachimaki yells that Yuri must wake up now. Yuri is floating through a white void. He feels good. Where is he? What is he doing here? He tells his wife that she doesn't need to look at him like that. He's not going far this time. A hand grabs Yuri's and he opens his eyes. But Hachimaki is next to him, yelling with his hand outstretched and not yet grasping Yuri's. They grasp each other, and Hachimaki struggles to correct their trajectory. Yuri looks down at his closed fist and finally opens it to find the compass. In this tense, dangerous moment, Yuri sees the inscription on the inside of the compass lid. It says, in deep, scratched-in letters, "Please save Yuri." Back on the ship, the coordinator and Hachimaki look out the portal as Yuri floats out to a quiet spot, flower in hand. He releases the flower and watches it drift slowly. This is the best he can do for a funeral, since there are no bouquets up here. He turns to head back to the ship. He's holding the compass. So, what? This will be episode 3 of Sci-Fi Arc?
Yeah.
So I believe in the order the episodes will come out, I read all the first chapters back to back and ended with this. And gosh, what a roller coaster to go from Cobra to Gantz to this.
Yeah.
Emotionally. Like, I was emotionally spent afterwards. I think I probably would have been still just reading this on its own, but having that, like, all over the place movement of, like, This is what sci-fi is. I think this is the most, at least from chapter 1, I think this is the most beautiful manga we've ever read. Not visually, necessarily. I have things to talk about with the visuals. But as, like, an emotional story.
Yeah. I find it so interesting because, like, it's so simple.
Yeah.
Like, there's
best stuff is.
There's, like, nothing going on here, but
Isn't there?
It's just, you know, a guy in the future dealing with some trauma. Like,
that's what makes it beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so simple. It's so human, even though it's in the future. That's the joy of sci-fi. That's the, not to toot my own horn, which is technically also your horn, but, like, and maybe we'll find a way to, maybe we'll do a radio show of it at some point. I don't know. The script that I wrote that you were very helpful in coming with ideas for and essentially writing the ending, because I'm bad at that, of somebody dealing with loss in the semi-future where the cemetery is full of graves that have essentially like an AI version of the person that died in them. And it's a straightforward, it's a sci-fi story in that we're in the future, but we're dealing with very simple human things like we are now. We're just doing them in a different, there's just new things to poke at them with. But I think that's what makes it work, because it is just it's still just the simple human story of somebody is dealing with the loss of a loved one.
Yeah. I found it really interesting because when I read it, I mean, it was very impactful. I felt lots of things reading it.
Mm.
But then I went back to write the summary. I don't know. Did you mention that before? I wrote that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Brad wrote the summary. Thank you, Brad, for this. There was 3. There was just too many on my plate.
Yeah. So when I went back to write the summary and I started going through it, I don't like to just like regurgitate things that are happening.
It just dawned on me as you're talking. I think this is your first serious summary, because the other times you can usually have some tongue-in-cheek stuff, but this one was like to joke about this one at all feel like actively would have like it feels like an insult to it. Like I would have gotten mad and my feelings hurt if you were too jokey about it, which I don't think you would have done, but like I'm just noticing how I'm feeling even just rereading that.
But the thing is, like, when I write my summaries, I don't like to just write what happened.
Yeah.
I like to, like, you want to write what happens, but like in a way that sort of gives maybe some more context,
or
that you get when
captures a tone.
Yeah.
Or sometimes your own personal feelings bleed through it. Like there's something else in there.
We're reading something that has pictures, so you need to capture the feeling that you get from the pictures as well.
Yeah.
And so just writing what's happening, you don't really get that. As I was writing the summary, I started going, man, there's hardly anything happens. Like even the ship gets hit by a piece of debris. There's a big hole. It's like nobody's freaking out about it. It's just a job. They're just going about. They start cutting away the broken pieces of the hull so it can get replaced. And like, it's all normal. But then there's this undercurrent of like, Yuri is messed up from this. He lost his wife. I get the feeling that he feels some level of guilt from having survived.
Yeah, he's got survivor's guilt, definitely. And the fact that he never gets the closure of having, like, especially the compass, but like not even just not having the compass as an idea of a hold on of his wife, but literally that moments before it happened, he knows there's an inscription that he didn't see.
Yeah.
And then the way that comes full circle is so
and then he's
pretty.
He's out here where the accident happened. He's at his source of trauma, which a little sort of strange to say because space is gigantic, but like
in a place of active danger at all times.
And so for at least 2 years, but probably longer, he's just been out here just looking out the window.
Looking into space for this. And the way somebody would, if you lost somebody in the ocean, you'd look out in the ocean to see something.
Yeah.
And I don't know which of those is more of an insane ask to try to see
space,
something.
Definitely.
Really?
The ocean is insane.
But you can't see through the ocean, but space you can see through, and if it's in orbit, it's still in orbit, which it is. It's just, it isn't necessarily in your orbit.
Space is bigger than you can imagine.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, the ocean's bigger than you can imagine. Space is bigger than that.
But he's not in all of space. He's in Earth's orbit. That's the space he has to care about. She didn't go flying off into space, capital S space.
You're not wrong, but also, like...
It's a large space, and I think it's like you said, it's larger than I think, but it's still finite, and I can see through space, but I cannot see through the ocean.
If you take the deepest part of the ocean, the Mariana Trench, and you were to put the height of that on top of the ocean, it wouldn't even come close to touching low Earth orbit.
Really?
Yeah.
I really thought you were going to tell me that it would.
No.
Shows what I know.
Like, humans are just really, really bad at conceiving of big things.
Yeah.
And
we're small in comparison.
Space, even the space that's right next to us, is so unfathomably large. So the fact that he's out there looking out into space, looking for something smaller than his fist. For years.
A light glint, literally just the light glinting
it's
on it,
insane.
Which he does see. But there's a certain beauty in that.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely.
I don't know why I don't know why my brain conjured up the similarness to the ocean, but like when I think about that mechanically, I feel like the ocean you're more fucked because it's like it's going to go down where you can't be, you can't see. The ocean currents can move it around so it can show up anywhere. it could be anywhere, but in space, it's in orbit. It has to be in the orbit somewhere. And even if it's a large space that is a specific, clear, you can know it has to be, if it lived, it has to be here. I'm still saying it's an incredible fool's errand for him to do it, and it's beautiful that he gets to see it then.
This story would have been just as compelling if it was set in the early 1800s and Yuri was a sailor and his wife had died in a boat accident and he kept sailing around and looking
hoping
out
to
into
find
the
that
ocean.
locket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. With space, there's something just because that's what makes it sci-fi. It just made it beautiful. The way that he's there, that he's sad, but he's not prickly.
Oh,
like
yeah.
He's not uber jaded, which sometimes characters like that are.
And maybe.
And I like that. It makes him incredibly sympathetic to me.
I think my summary probably didn't quite capture this, but Yuri is not walking depression.
He does keep to himself.
He keeps to himself, but he talks to people.
He's not brooding.
He smiles from time to time. Like, he's not just a depressed boy.
He's a wounded man, though.
Yeah.
He's an emotionally wounded man, and it's just like... listeners, listen to how I sound in the last 2 episodes. You go back a week or something and listen to, like, not even just that it's later in the night. Like, I just, like, I feel wonderfully emotional a way that I'm supposed to instead of a way I'm not supposed to when I read it. Like, I just, this was such a, like, pretty emotional thing to take in.
So, I mean, this made me cry, I'll say.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm pretty sure I got close. I don't remember. I think I was just emotionally exhausted when I finished it.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning, the actual accident, it was like, oh shit. But then, like, as you see Yuri going through the motions of his job, but also, like, he's got a lookout. It just sort of, it hits you and you're like, oh, he keeps trying every day.
He needs that closure. Closure.
And then he sees it and he goes for it. And, oh, it's right there. Oh, but he missed it. Oh, no. Oh, but somehow he did get it. His dead wife pushed it into his hand or something. It's unclear to me if there's some kind of supernatural thing going on here.
Maybe just conception. I don't think in like a literal sense.
Because first of all,
I just remember him grabbing it. But
I'm sort of going, why did she write "Please save Yuri" in the compass before anything happened? Like,
I mean, maybe like that's the thing. Like, I'm curious if we learn about. I mean, that's a question of one of our questions of what we think happens next.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to spend more time specifically with Yuri because this feels like I need a better example than Cowboy Bebop, but I feel like this feels like a semi-anthology series with the crew and related crew of this ship.
I could see that. It's definitely...
And maybe we learn more because it's like I feel like you could learn more about Yuri from before this happened, and maybe he still had his own thing that like she was like, please let him get over this, and that was please like, but maybe not. I don't know, but it's still like, it's still a beautiful thing. I'm so happy he lives. Because it could have been it's so easy to just tragically go, like, he finally gets it and he dies falling into orbit. Like, that's such a... I have that with the stuff that I'm writing, where it's just like, you could kill them and it would be emotionally compelling, but, like, do you want to do that? Like, I don't like doing that to people unless it feels like... Just saying it's really beautiful feels like not the right word I need.
It's got to be a compelling reason for it.
But you can make it compelling because the poeticness of it that he finally got this thing he couldn't give up for closure because he wanted closure, and then that's what does him in. But I don't like that. Like, that's not... I mean, like, I don't know. Sometimes stories need to be hard, and sometimes characters need to die or suffer in ways because that's what the story is, and I'm just like... I don't think you need that as much as people do it, and it just makes me... Like, I'm just so happy that... I'm happy that there was a moment of struggle that Hachimachi had to get in there and help him, but like I'm so happy he didn't die.
There's a version of this story.
And then he gets to keep it.
There's a version of this story where him dying would make sense, but it's not the version that we got.
You think?
Because that version would need to show how the obsession is a problem.
Yeah.
And what we didn't get that. What we saw is
it's not like in a lesson maybe, but just it's like it's a tragedy of it.
Yeah.
And there can be a beauty in that sadness. And there's just enough sadness. He's lost his wife in this tragic way. The way that it at the start, the way he walks to the back is done so, like, once I read it, and it's so strange because it feels like something is happening. Not when the thing crashes, but when he's leaving, like he's going to go do something. Because this is before I know what this is at all. And just the way that it's shown is just very like, where are you going? Like, what's happening? What's going on?
Going to get coffee.
Exactly. Yeah, it feels very fake for some reason. I have no idea why. When I was reading it, it felt like what's actually happening.
I definitely.
But then the story keeps going, and it's like
going to happen.
No, but it felt like that there was like a setup to something, and there is. I mean, technically there is. It's that he's not there. He's in the back, and he survives. But that's why the reason he leaves is so he can survive. But like in that moment, he's literally just going to get coffee. But in that moment, when I'm reading it before the crash, it feels like it's setting something up. Specific, like he is setting something up, and he's just not. But no, I loved this. Like, this was so pretty. I'm intrigued for more stories. Hearing that it's as short as it is really makes me excited and happy about that. The art is strange. The art, it's so strange that I have this. This is the distinction in my head. This manga, written by a Japanese person, looks like a graphic novel, which is the most nonsense sentence, but you know
here's
what
the
I
thing.
mean.
So all of the backgrounds and like the technology, the ships, the suits, all looks like that, what you're saying, a graphic novel. But
no, their faces, the character designs look so graphic novel.
No, only Yuri. Everybody else, well, maybe not his wife. All the other characters.
Maybe I'm thinking about Yuri the most. Yeah, you're kind of right.
The coordinator, whose name is Fee, we know that. It doesn't say it in the chapter. The other salvager, Hachimaki.
Hachimaki or Hachimiki, yeah, probably Miki.
And Pops, the repair guy. They all look like manga characters.
I think that's it, because when you start, you see Yuri and his wife, and they just the first couple pages looks like you're reading, and the way it's colored.
Yeah,
where I read it was colored. And it was just like, oh, this is a graphic novel.
Yeah.
And I double checked that it wasn't like...
The vistas, the space vistas and everything are amazing.
It's a beautiful piece. In no way do I want that to... Like, I don't want that to sound like it's bad, because I do like the art, but it was just like... It's such a... Like, as manga can have many different styles, it didn't look like manga at the start. And it doesn't need to, but that's why I said it. Like, the weird distinction in my head, whatever that means, that like it looks like a graphic novel.
But then, like the spaceships and everything look like... These could be real ships. They're drawn really well, and this
feels like grounded sci-fi.
Well, and let's be fair. Like, first of all, they're in low Earth orbit, and they're salvaging in order to avoid a very real problem called Kessler syndrome.
Okay, tell me about this.
Kessler syndrome is a problem that will occur if there is too much debris in space. In order to stay in low Earth orbit, you have to be going very, very fast. If you've ever heard from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the way that you fly, the way that you stay in orbit, is to throw yourself at the ground and miss, which is honestly completely accurate.
Yes.
Because
you're in a constant state of falling.
Right. The gravity well of the Earth is constantly trying to pull you in. And so you have to travel sideways faster than gravity will pull you down. And the closer you are to the ground, the faster that is. Now, when you're in the atmosphere, you can use the buoyancy of air to keep you up. That's wings. That's what wings do.
Okay.
So you don't have to travel thousands of miles an hour to stay in the air.
And I'm like, what air in space?
But there's no air in space.
Exactly. There we
go. As soon as you get past a certain height, you have to be going a lot faster in order to not go down. And so what happens is if you fill this space around the Earth, especially a low Earth orbit, geosynchronous orbit is how you have to be way far out in order to like not move, basically. Well, you're still moving, but you're going around the Earth at the same speed that the Earth is rotating. So if you fill all this space in low Earth orbit with all this debris, it's going so fast. If one piece runs into another piece, so like a satellite hits a satellite or a screw hits a satellite, makes more debris that goes out in many directions,
But aren't they
and
all
hits-
moving at the same speed, essentially?
but not the same direction.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Now, we currently have a lot of ways to mitigate this. Countries talk to each other and go, hey, we're going to put up the satellite. It's going to be here. It's going to travel like this. Oh, we're going to put this one up. It's going to be here. It's going to travel like that. But the more stuff we put up there, the more likely it is that there's an accident. And what you get is a cascade event.
Yeah.
Because when one piece hits something, creates debris, that's more debris,
Extra debris
still
all over the
traveling
place,
fast.
chaotically moving
And so it
around.
starts hitting other pieces.
Said it's only a screw because it's moving so quickly.
And at some point,
That's what they said in the manga. There's like an egg-sized
yeah,
thing. Think how small an egg is in the giant hole. I mean, obviously you couldn't see it, listener, but if you became
I'd
a
say it
reader,
was about 1.5 meters.
yeah, I'd say maybe even more than that. Scale's hard to tell when you're in space.
Yeah. But so you get this cascade event. That's what Kessler syndrome is, where so much debris is flying around and creating more debris that it basically covers low Earth orbit, and then we can't get to space anymore.
Yeah.
So, and what, it's set in, 2068?
Yeah.
It's so realistic.
I'll be alive for that.
Probably.
Yeah. Hopefully. Hopefully. That's a reasonable time to live to from now.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, the realism of what's going on, the art, the as close as they were to the atmosphere, like things immediately start burning up, and also like their ability to fly around on their little scooters and stuff. Not quite realistic, but
Cool, like a little touch of the sci-fi cool,
Yeah.
which I appreciate.
close enough that it's easily you
Space-
just skip
space
over
bikes.
it. Yeah. So yeah,
There's space bikes in the future. I don't
it's doing all this stuff so well. It's really, really good.
know. I don't think we've ever read a manga this grounded.
And
Even though it's in space.
I might have said this already, but it feels like this first chapter could be a one shot.
Yep. Oh, 100%.
You could just
Yep.
read this,
You could just read and be done.
and it's fun. What is it, like 46 pages or something?
That sounds about right. I think, yeah, because there was when I was reading some of the other ones where it was just like, okay, Cobra's only like 30-some chapters, but this really feels like a stopping point.
Yeah.
And then Gantz, I was just like, it's kind of short and I need more. And this was just like, I don't care if this is short. This is its own. This is a complete piece here, and it's so beautiful, and it doesn't need anything.
It's very
else. It was so
self-contained.
It was the one. It was the one of the trio that I was just like, yeah, obviously this is where you stop because it's
Yeah.
This is the chapter, and it's beautiful. I think are we ready for thinking? I guess are you in the mind that I am of that we just follow maybe some more of Yuri, maybe other like we just follow like different people's stories of them going into space and doing this job?
I really don't know, because like I don't know what more to Yuri there would be. So your idea of like this is sort of like an anthology thing, like each of these characters has something different going on. We started with Yuri, but like we're gonna see what else is happening.
It's like this is today's episode, very like. I mean, not literally Star Trek, but I think of Star Trek. I think of Firefly. I think of other sci-fi television.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, we're following this character today, or they're getting up to this thing, or this trio's doing that. Like,
Yeah.
that's the energy I'm getting from chapter 1.
Yeah.
What are your feelings and what are your thinky thoughts?
Amazing.
Yep. Same. Thinky things, feeling thoughts, both for me. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I think it's great. I think it's amazing. I feel it's amazing. It's the most beautiful thing we've read conceptually.
Yeah.
It is the thing that has made me feel the most. And like I read other manga that make me feel things, but not from the jump of chapter 1. I feel like I think because I just listened to it, the Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts, where I go, look at how much this first chapter did to set things up in this world. Jump. Why can't you do this? Why
Yeah.
can't you be like these other manga? And here I mean, this one's a little further out because it kind of can feel complete in itself. It's like, and maybe this doesn't need jumps for fucking teenagers or whatever, but like in less than a normal extra long Shonen Jump chapter 1, this is introduced us to characters and told us one of the most beautiful emotional stories within like 40, 50 some pages.
Yep.
And it's like, can you not get your shit together just a little bit like your older brother and just make something like is it somewhat difficult to do? Yeah. Is it impossible? Fuck no. Like, get your shit together, chapter 1s. You get to even sit on this longer. Like, Why are all of them so dog shit? I feel like that's what a lot of these adventures outside of Jump have been. Of just like, you have the biggest manga fucking magazine on the planet backing you and scouting you out. This is what you bring for chapter 1 with this page count, and that's the best you could do?
Yeah.
And admittedly, some of this can be hampered by we're going outside the magazine, especially this Planet Test thing. I don't even know if this one got published in a specific magazine or not. It's only 26 chapters. It clearly got to do exactly what it wanted. It didn't need to be a forever running thing.
Right.
And I feel like there's a certain... Maybe that's a bigger episode at some point. Maybe that's a mainliney one about the difference between manga that just gets to be, I'm here and I'm done, and manga that has to be, you're the engine, you have to power the machine because the machine makes the money that makes everything go round, and if you don't keep fueling the machine, it just stops. And then there's no money for nobody.
We know it's possible, though. Even within Jump. Because you look at something like Spy Family.
It's not in Jump proper.
In the magazine.
That was what I wanted to posit to you, and I think I want to save that. I want it recording for me for later. When I hear this, I will hopefully write it down. I want to do a mainline episode where we think about all the first chapters that we've read specifically from Jump, not Jump Plus, maybe not even old Jump, recent when the past couple of years Jump. Which of them was the best at being a first chapter?
Yeah.
Which one was the best one?
The Jumpies.
The Jumpies. Chapters make me want to jumpy off the Empire State Building.
Yeah, I guess that's so weird. I can think of examples of excellent first chapters, but I can't think of one from the magazine.
Yep.
That doesn't bode well.
Because the problem is so many of them are effing dead. Like I had a list at some point we will record. I want to do, I think postmortem, the bounty board, what's the like coroner's office or something, and I just wanted to go over everything we covered. Technically it was supposed to be for the last year, but we never did a review because we've been doing Shonen Jumping the Gun for longer than that, and just go over everything and go, how many of these are dead? Because the answer is most of them. And I think there's something, that's why it was more of like less the bounty board and more the cadaver side of it. The postmortem.
Moxie and Isekai Sensei-Sama visit the morgue.
The morgue visit. I had some other word for it or something. Boot Hill. Because it's amazing. And this feels like make Dear Anemone like this. Dear Anemone was sci-fi. Was postmortem. Just write compelling. I mean, maybe teenagers don't give a fuck about it, but I don't give a fuck about them. Yeah. So maybe they should read a thing that's really beautiful and emotionally moving. Like, maybe it's just my habit of writing plays now, but I'm just like, I want to make this into a short play. It's just really pretty.
Hey, we found out in Gantz, teenagers suck.
Teenagers suck. You know what also is true about teenagers? They scare the living shit out of me. Do you know the next line of the song, though?
They could care less
as long as someone will bleed.
So can your bone and strike
like a violin pose. Maybe they'll leave you alone, but not me. Okay, yeah, we're getting distracted.
I'm gonna buy this.
I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read more of it. I should buy it.
I'm gonna buy it.
There's an omnibus.
You just get the
omnibus.
I'm
gonna check the library.
Well, I'm gonna buy it.
I mean, if you buy the omnibus, I'm gonna borrow it. Then.
The only reason I didn't yet was because I read it yesterday.
Yeah.
And I wrote the summary this morning. And I think I want to see if I can go to the bookstore and buy it.
That's smart.
But if not, I'll order it.
Yeah. Dark Horse is harder to find stuff with. It's so weird Dark Horse is the publisher of some of these manga, but that's how
I think this is worth owning.
Yeah. I want to know more of it before I do the omnibus, but also, like, I think I just want more of it because it was just so pretty.
I don't own very much manga.
No, you don't.
But, like, this is one where I went, this is beautiful in so many ways.
I would come back to this, and it's small enough that I would want to share this with somebody else. So, yeah, I would definitely agree about buying it. I think this is the most glowing we've ever been about anything.
Together.
Definitely.
Yeah,
it feels
100%.
Good. This is like a euphoria moment. Because usually it's either we're at odds or like one of us is slightly higher and the other one's slightly lower. And like this is the even rare opposite side of the coin when we are both curb stomping something like those. I love these moments where we have strong emotion and we are together with it. It is very. I guess we kind of had one in Wise Beasts of the Wizarding Wisdom, but that was a different. That had a very different energy. That was tainted. This is untainted.
I wonder how many people listen to that one.
I hope people like that episode. I hope people like that manga.
We were very open in that episode.
Very open about that episode. That is an episode. If like that comes out the week somebody asks me about the podcast, they go, maybe don't listen to that one if you know me in person right now. Maybe know me a little. Listen to some other ones. We're not always like that. Just don't do the Beast arc. Don't start with the Beast arc.
You mean the furry romance arc?
The furry romance arc, yeah. We're in sci-fi arc now.
Yeah.
So,
and it's going to keep going.
Yes, we've
which
got
I forgot about when we started recording tonight.
Correct. We have like a bunch more.
I think it's only 3.
It might I think it's 4. I got to double check. Yeah, because we're adding on.
Oh, we're putting more stuff. Okay.
I'm putting that one on if we can get them. Who am I talking about, listeners? You'll find out, hopefully. But yeah, even if you don't buy it, like just go read this chapter. Like just go read it. Like make sure you set emotional time aside to do it. And just have a moment.
That's a good point.
Have a moment of humanity.
We did not have any kind of disclaimer for this. We just went into it blind, which I mean, I think is generally good for what we do here.
Part and parcel.
But I want to give as a recommendation to other people, I would like to give you the disclaimer. This isn't fun. Like it's not
meaningful. No, but
it's not bad.
Don't make it sound like homework or eating Wheaties.
Yeah. But like it will
make some emotional space for it,
right?
Both during it and after reading it. Like
it
be aware
you're
going to feel some things in a good way. It's not
also a little bit in a bad way.
Cold depression. Like it's a beautiful. It's the I always forget this word. It describes. There's like a bunch of music from the 70s I love because it feels like this. It's a warm melancholy. And it's one of my favorite feelings in music and in media is warm melancholy.
Yeah, melancholy. But
not just melancholy.
No,
that's what the warmth is for.
But the general malaise.
It's a beauty in a cruel world.
Yeah, and like, I hope this came across in the summary. There's no like violent imagery or anything. Like you don't see the accident.
Nope, you don't need to. You don't need to.
It's very much just like a faraway view. You're just peeking in on this very human tragedy from afar.
Gantz, why can't you be like your older sister Planetes?
Let's not go back to that.
No. I think with that, unless you got something else, I think we're at the end.
Yeah, just to say you should probably read this.
Beautiful. Like, I don't think we've ever so specifically gone like, just go read it. Like, oh, we liked it. You'd like it. Go check it out. But like, just genuinely, like, as a treat for your humanity, which is not something I didn't think I could say on a manga podcast. Go read at least the first chapter of Planetes,
and then go tell Ben that he should cover this on Words About Books.
Oh,
because they do graphic novels every once in a while.
It is graphic novel enough for him, so yeah.
It's an omnibus, so
it's an omnibus. Yeah, there's Berserk omnibuses. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening. And Brad, hit me with those plugs.
Well, as always, we want to thank Sugoi Mart for partnering with us. Sugoi Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch that you can't get outside Japan. Our listeners can use the link in the description or code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off their first order. And we want to hear from you. So find links to our social media out on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. Make sure you check out our Discord, where you can chat with us about all these episodes in these series. But also don't forget to check out our Patreon, where our supporters get perks like getting to vote on what we cover on heroin addiction, getting bonus episodes, and getting the high-quality stereo version of the podcast early. And of course, we have to shout out our patrons. So, first and foremost, at our noble tier, we have our space captain, Cake Dwarf.
I want like spacey horns, space horns.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to do the
At our reincarnator tier, we've got Moon. And last but not least, at our commoner tier, we've got Kill Hour and Rena. So thanks so much to all our patrons.
Thank you, Brad, for that. Thank you, everybody, once again, for listening. Once again. Make sure you listen to all the podcasts on our feed. And Brad, I'm gonna attempt this. For here am I sitting in a tin can, far above the world. Planet Earth is blue and there's nothing I can do.
All right, now let's get depressed.
Let's have a romantic moment, but actually, no, that's not what I wanted.
Even a romantic.
Not romantic. Well, but with them it is, with the context of it. It's a feeling moment.
Feelings, I wouldn't call it romantic.
It's his wife, isn't it?
If you think dead wives are romantic.
It's his wife, though, and he's been waiting, looking through space for years to find her, or her locket.
Okay.
Is there not a certain... Nope. We're literally on the eaves. We're literally seconds from recording the episode.
There is romance to it.
Yes.
But it's not
a romance.
Romantic.
No. It's romantic. He's waiting. Planetes.
On today's episode.
No. It needs like a grandness to it. I need like my Carl Sagan voice, which I don't think I have because I don't think I know what Carl Sagan...
That doesn't...
Billions and billions of stars.
No.
Because I want to say today we explore the vastness of space. It's planetes, but they don't. They're literally just in orbit.
Low Earth orbit.
Yeah.
In space, no one can hear you cry.
No.
It's
you got
planetes.
So much... I don't know. I thought, whatever. Welcome, everybody. I am your space...
Wait.
Fuck off! What?
I thought you were going to do another one.
Oh, okay.
Give it a little bit of breathing room.
At what point? I think I know what you mean.
Your read was fine.
Yeah.
But you went straight into the title like too quickly.
Okay, so leave space after the little opening quip before I say planetes.
I guess I could have just put some space.
No, but it's better to have it because then the breathy sounds fit better. Welcome, everybody. I am your Space Odyssey. Not Oddity. It's Space Odyssey. It's Space Oddity. That's what I wrote down. That's what I want to say.
I'm the star
Wait,
man.
that's the bit.
Waiting in the sky.
I saw when I put my big bit in there that you had not written the summary yet, which admittedly you did then, so we're cool. Welcome, everybody. I am your Space Oddity, Moxie the Yeen, here with my... Here with my fuck. It's time for my patented Moxie's manga submarine. I'm going to do a real one. Sorry. Just then, the repair ship shows up. So Hachimaki shoots up. Heroin addiction. I just wanted something pretty to end it. It just, like, making a joke just felt wrong. And we already did the Space Odyssey opening. And it just felt very fitting. I don't know. Like, what is this? Like, what is this feeling? What is this state? Like, this isn't depressed. I know what depression feels like.
No, warm melancholy.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, like, really pleasant. It's just, like, really nice. It feels meaningful.
It's not pleasant, though. Like...
I'm not, like, glowing, but, like, I feel... I'm full of feelings.
It's the feeling
but in a good way.
Get when things have been bad, but right now everything's fine.
Yes. It's the beauty out of the darkness.
Yeah.
It's the things, it's what I love about a lot of Jim Henson's work. It's like why I watch I'm an Artist Jug Band Christmas every year. Because it's like a warm hug on a dark night.
Mm.
And it's just really pretty about even through tough times, people finding a beauty in things. And I don't know, there's something about that. Like, I enjoy feeling these feelings. I don't get to feel it a lot. It doesn't come up a lot in life.
I don't want to feel this too often, but like every once in a while,
yeah,
it fits.
I wouldn't want it like every day or multiple times a week, but it's just like, it makes me feel very like contemplative and at peace in a certain way. It's really nice.
Okay.
Let's go watch fucking live action Gantz.